Hey everyone, today we are doing the Dollar Store Survival Challenge Winter Edition. Now for those who don't know, this idea came up years ago. Someone came up with the idea of doing a $10 Dollar Store Survival Challenge. You'd have to make a shelter, make fire, make a meal. There's a few other guidelines, but that's the basic idea. Lately the challenge has become $20 with the price of everything going up. $20 seems to be the standard nowadays. Because I am doing it in winter, I thought about doing a 20 item limit, maybe a $50 limit. I said, you know what, forget the limits. I'm just going to do an overnight camp in winter with dollar store gear. That's what I'm doing. Now, as you can see, I do have a backpack. This is only to get my gear here, get my gear out. I will not use it for anything else. I won't use it to gather anything. I won't even use it as a pillow. So this is only to bring my gear and get my gear out of here. I do have 3 other items that are not from the dollar store. I have my first aid kit, which comes with me regardless. I have my camera gear, and I did bring a CO monitor / temperature gauge, and that's really just to check the efficiency of my shelter. That's more me out of curiosity than actually needing a temperature gauge. Priorities first, guys. Gotta put the beer in the snow to keep it cold. The only tool I brought today was this little multi-tool. Believe it or not, the dollar store did have a carpenter saw and an axe. Would have made my life so much easier, but I also thought it would have defeated the whole purpose of this dollar store challenge, so we are going to struggle with this today. Feels like a butter knife just slipping on the wood. If you're wondering why I'm so focused on this spot, it's because I want to throw my tarp over here and I don't want anything to cut it, so a little piece like this has to go. This piece I think I'm going to leave here. I'm going to throw my tarp over. I'll use this to sit, and it shouldn't hinder me when I go to throw my tarp over at night. By the way, if you're interested in the gear I'm using today, I did do a separate video talking about the majority of the gear that I'm using to keep this video a bit shorter. I will leave a list in the description as well as a link to that video. Alright, so I did have to change my shelter setup midway through. It's really wet behind me. It's been raining the past few days. It's really wet in front of me, so I end up flipping the tarp around. At least I'll have some coverage from the water behind me. What I want to do now is get some boughs to keep me off the snow and gather some firewood. I have about 2 hours before it gets dark, so I'm gonna get on that. But while I do that, I will be sipping on the first beer, which is Russell Brewing's Honey Lager. Cheers, guys. Nice easy drinking beer while I set up camp. At this point, I'm not sure if I'm going to make a super shelter. That was the plan. We're currently, I think, 5 or 6 degrees Celsius, so about 40 Fahrenheit. Tonight, it's only going to go down right around the freezing point, so I really don't need it. I do need to keep myself off the ground, though, so that's my main priority. Get some boughs, get some firewood. I'm going to get on it now. Alright, I put some boughs down. Now that is mainly to keep me off the snow and not for the insulation. I'm going to rest this on top. This is a contractor's drop cloth. It's supposed to be waterproof. I'm going to lay that on the boughs and that'll be my sleeping pad for tonight. It's so much thinner once it's opened out. I do have 3 of these, so one will be my blanket or sleeping bag. I might put 2 on the ground, so we'll see. And there you go. No, I do not plan on being comfortable tonight. My goal is to just be warm and not freeze. Here you have my cooking gear and dinner. We got some breakfast here. Some pancakes. Whether I'll actually make that in the morning or not, time will tell. Like I said, I was thinking of doing a super shelter. I do not think the temperature is going to be nearly as low as I thought. And this whole section of the shelter is open, so this is going to be useless anyway. If you don't know what a super shelter is, basically you have an enclosed shelter, almost airtight, as airtight as you can get tarps anyway. Throw this in front. When your fire's a few feet in front of you, it will actually work as a almost like a greenhouse effect. So it'll actually be warm in the shelter. Haven't tried it yet, but I do plan on it one day. Duct tape. This is for my sleeping bag. Like I said, I do have 2 more of these drop cloths. I will be using at least 1 for my blanket, so I'll probably use the second one on the ground as well. I went to the dollar store probably a dozen times in the past 10 months, and every time I would go, I'd pick up 1 or 2 things for this. I didn't really have a plan at first, and then after about maybe 3 months ago, I decided, you know what, I need to set a plan, set up what I'm going to do to sleep and shelter. So I started to narrow down what I needed. I have 2 Mylar blankets. I do not have that Mylar tent that I had in the summer version. I actually got rid of it because there was a few holes in it, and the dollar store in my area does seasonal things, so that was a summer item and it was not available anymore. So I regret not keeping it, but I do have 2 Mylar blankets. One will be for my sleeping bag or sleeping blanket or whatever I make. The other will be as backup, maybe for the floor. I'm not too sure yet, but it's always good to have an extra one. I really should be gathering wood, but I'm going to make some coffee first. Alright, so we're going to come back to that in a few minutes and see what happens. Now, I'm really not a fan of single-use plastic utensils, so I picked up this little bamboo kit. I do use the plastic ones when I have no choice, but I think when I'm done with this video, I'm going to throw some in my lunchbox at work. Some days I forget my fork and all that, and it's good backup. This thing is absolutely useless. I know you guys are tired of seeing me break sticks, but that's what's going to happen today. I'm going to drag some bigger pieces in and just kind of feed them as I get the fire going. I thought I was going to have a fire going all night to keep me warm. It's really not that cold. And the ground is also melting. So there's some wet spots in front of me. There's some wet spots behind me. Luckily, I'm on a dry patch, but I also will not keep a fire going all night for that reason. But make my dinner. I'll make one before I go to bed, and I'll probably start it again in the morning. As long as I'm not sleeping in a pool of water, though, I'll be happy. That is some of the worst coffee I've ever had. Doesn't even taste like coffee, it just tastes like smoke and cold. It's not even warm. I don't want to drink it, but I also don't want to waste it. Wood processing is more or less done. There are a few pieces right around me that I can always gather if I need more. I actually don't want a big fire tonight. Right there, it's hard to tell, but that's just a puddle of water about 10 inches down. So if I start a big fire, this is all going to melt. It's going to be a swampy mess. I don't want that. Has some starter wood on the side here. Has some long pieces I'm going to feed in. And I actually kicked this birch into a few pieces. This is not going to burn. It's super damp, but I'm going to lay it as a base. Start my fire on that. Hopefully that keeps the snow underneath from melting too quickly. Like I said, I don't need a fire for a long time, but I want to at least make dinner, enjoy a fire tonight, so at least a few hours. I'll start the fire a few different ways today. I'll start with the petroleum jelly with some of these cotton pads. I have never done this. It's a really popular way of starting fire. I've just never done it because I don't really keep either of these with me. So let's try it out. One is enough, but I have all packed, so I'm just putting a wad of that there. That's that. Also going to take a few and spray it with some rubbing alcohol. Now finally the old magnesium / ferro rod. I'm tired of having my knees on the ground, so I'm going to open up another one of these, put it on the floor in front of me. They are waterproof. I don't know if they're flammable or not. I guess we'll find out pretty quick. By the way, I could not finish that coffee. It was absolutely terrible. It was definitely the way I cooked it. I mean, I throw 2 of those little starter bricks, and that's all I'm tasting. So I normally don't like to waste coffee, but that was undrinkable, guys. That was the worst cup of coffee I've ever had. So because I bought most of the gear around the holidays, I thought it'd be suitable to do a holiday dinner. So I don't know if I'm excited or not, but I have some canned turkey right here. Canned turkey. I got rid of the boxes just to save some space, but they had instant potatoes, which I actually eat these often when I camp and stuff. They're just super convenient. Instant stuffing, and then make a little gravy with that. I picked up some lemon pepper seasoning. It sounded good at the time. I did not know what my meal was when I bought it. I don't think it's gonna be good for the turkey, but I think the potatoes won't be that bad. The stuffing we're gonna say is acceptable. The potatoes are still a bit dry, so I'm gonna add some of the gravy to it. The gravy is actually still too liquid. Look, don't come here for my culinary skills, guys. Gonna cover that back up. Hope that works. Actually, that's looking pretty good now. It actually looks worse than I expected. Just trying to like maybe sear it up a bit. I'm not too sure. As long as it's still like gelatinous and stuff. Now I'm trying to clean out that bowl. I do want to make a batch of tea later, and I don't want it tasting like turkey. Now to go with that turkey dinner, if that's what we want to call it, I was going to try to reduce some of this cranberry juice down into a sauce and have a cranberry sauce. It wouldn't have been great, but would have been fun to do. I'm not even going to try that now. I'm just going to sip on this while I have my meal. Honestly, guys, the meal's not half bad. The turkey is questionable, but potatoes and stuffing, honestly, really not bad. Smoke is coming right into my direction. Let's finally talk about these glow sticks. This was supposed to be plan C. So plan A was camp, spend the night, wake up in the morning. Plan B was if anything went wrong or I was super cold, stay up all night, stoke the fire, stay warm. That is no longer an option in my opinion. With the ground being super wet over there, if I do that all night, it's going to end up with a big wet puddle and that won't be good. So that's not even an option for me anymore. Plan C is to mark my path to get out and get onto the main trail. So I'm going to do that right now. If at any point, you know, something goes wrong, I have no problem calling it off, and that's what I'm going to do. At this point, though, I'm feeling pretty confident. I'm feeling pretty comfortable as well. So far, so good. I've laid out about 8 of these, somewhere between 10 to 20 feet apart, and it's hard to see on camera, but I'll walk back and you'll see. And it is time for the second beer. This is again from Russell Brewing, Root Beer Stout. I'm a big fan of stouts, I'm a big fan of root beer as well, so pretty excited for this. They sent me these, there are no strings attached, but if you guys are near Surrey, BC, definitely go check them out. All their beers have been really good so far. Cheers again, guys. It's really interesting. You have all the flavors of a root beer, but instead of it being like a sweet soda, you have it in a beer format. It's pretty good. It's not even that bitter. So just for fun, I checked the temperature. It's currently 0 degrees Celsius, 32 Fahrenheit outside, right at the freezing point. It's actually quite nice. It's actually 2 degrees warmer inside the shelter, so it's kind of fun to see how a tarp and a fire in front actually creates a little bit of warmth in there. Time to finish my sleeping setup. I decided to go with a blanket. It's not very cold at all. I think I'll be comfortable in a blanket. This is the one I've been kneeling on. It turns out it is not waterproof after all. See the big wet spot right there. Has been working fine for a kneeling pad, but I am very glad to have a third one. One side is sort of a felt material, and one side is like a, I guess waterproof. I don't really know what to call it, but I'm gonna tape my Mylar blanket to that side. I feel it's gonna stick better there. Keep the felt towards me, Mylar on the outside. I think that'll retain the most heat, and that's the plan. I just ran out of tape at the end. There's about 1.5 feet, but we'll be fine like that. I'm actually very pleasantly surprised with how this turned out. Let you know for sure in the morning, but this is better than what I expected, to be honest. Much better than the coffee. I thought a warm drink before going to bed would be a good idea. Now I'm going to try something tonight that I normally don't do. I normally sleep in my base layers or my mid layers. Today I'm going to leave on my jacket, leave on my snow pants. Neither of them are wet, so I'm not concerned about that. I'm going to take off my boots but leave on my boot liners. So I think that'll give me the best chance of staying warm considering I don't have a sleeping bag. And so far I'm still comfortable, so hopefully it goes well. Really awkward to crawl in, but I'm feeling really confident about this. If anything does go wrong, I have fire starters, I have a hand warmer. Keep me warm. If I do need to start a fire, I have enough wood to do that. Lighter is here. If anything goes wrong, I will wake up in the night and I'll give you guys an update. If not, I will see you in the morning. Good morning. I know it doesn't look like morning, but the sun's gonna come up in about 30 minutes, 45 minutes, so get the fire started, get some breakfast going. That way when the sun does come up, we'll get out of here. First things first, I laid down for about 30 seconds last night. Immediately got up. That drop sheet I was using for a knee pad, couldn't use it as a blanket because it was still too wet, but I threw it over as part of my shelter. It's blocking the open side that was there and a little bit in front. Kind of helped retain the heat and stop the wind from coming in, so it's kind of nice. For breakfast today we have Pancake On The Go. Supposed to make this in the microwave, but I think putting hot water in will do the job. Gonna finish up this cranberry juice. I don't feel like gathering more water today. I also don't feel like trying that coffee again, so this will do the job. I'm immediately happy about setting this up. The fact that I just got out, there's a little wind coming, and I'm actually cold right now. I was warmer in there. So, get the fire started, warm up a little bit, have some breakfast. Last night, I was not warm, but I wasn't freezing as well, so it honestly wasn't that bad considering what I had, but it definitely wasn't winter rated. Let's put it that way. This was definitely a cook in the microwave situation. The meals for this video were not great, guys. I'm gonna eat this. Yes, I'm still gonna eat it like this. I don't really have a way to transport this out. I don't want to just dump it on the ground for some animals to get to, so I will eat this. Gonna clean up camp, gonna pick up my glow sticks on the way out. I'm excited to get home, take a nap, and have a breakfast. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video.